I'm so glad to be with you, the music family, and you, Mr. Officer, to talk about family engagement and I think, our mutual mission that the four of us have shared with many to eradicate childhood lead poisoning and end the toxic legacy of lead in this country. And I want to start by thanking the three of you for what I think is just incredible and ardent advocacy over decades. Um, and people know many things about Iowa, but one of the things they should know is how important Iowa has been in this effort and how important the music family has been. So it's my honor to be speaking with you this morning and continuing to hear and learn from you as we try to advance this work through AMCHIP and the COIN to lift the voices of parents and of solutions in the work as we endeavor to end childhood lead poisoning. So I want to just thank you for your time today. Brenda, it's so nice to see you and Damon, and really appreciate you taking time and just the tremendous voice and leader that you've been for parents across this country, and an inspiration of how you face what truly was challenging, and ask you to share a bit of your story and how this has impacted you and how you took that to become such an important advocate for parents on this issue.
Our story actually started in 2001 when we moved from California back to Iowa. We found a really cute little quaint house in Independence and moved into it. And it was in a great neighborhood. We had the school board president who lived next to us and teachers who lived behind us, and our family doctor lived 3 houses away. It was just the perfect little neighborhood. And it was 2002 where we started seeing some changes in Sean, and we approached our doctor, but they were all kind of blown off to typical child things. He was having some night terrors, and that we just could not control. And the doctor thought that that was pretty common since I sleepwalk and Damon sleep talks. So he kind of pushed that off, and he would be picky about what he ate. And, again, he was only 2, so it got pushed off. And then 2003 came around, and Damon was a contractor, and his work unexpectedly just shut down without any notice. And we were without an income for a month. And a good friend suggested we get on the WIC program until we get back on our feet. And we qualified for this WIC program for 1 month. And so we went in, and the WIC nurse had asked if I minded if our kids got tested for lead poisoning. Well, I have a medical background, and I didn't even think that this was, a problem. I didn't think this was going to be a concern. And I'm like, sure. Within the week, I got a call from the Blackhawk County Health Department telling me that Sean was lead poisoned, that his blood lead level was 24 micrograms per deciliter. And he said the next step would be that Sean needed a venous stick to see what his actual levels were. So we scheduled that and got that done, and that lead level came back as 40 micrograms per deciliter. But it took him 4 years with no new lead exposure before his numbers were underneath what was considered normal parameters. And during that time, they would go down, and then they would go back up, and then they would go down, and then they would plateau. And I didn't know what all this means. And I had a really good health department because I had them on speed dial, and I had Rita in the Iowa Department of Public Health on speed dial. Because if I had any questions, I was calling them saying, why did he raise back up? Why is this not moving? What do I do? What, help me. And God bless them. They were always there to answer my questions. They became family to me over that time.
Well, I hear the story, and I'm sure Kevin agrees with me, but I hear all of the classic stories we learn about lead, right? The rebounding of the lead levels, the long-term struggles, the impulse control issues. But what I really also hear is the deep challenges and how exhausting that must have felt for you, for both of you and your son, and just the enormous determination that Sean had to show himself, and what a different world he grew up in than other kids. So I want to pay a lot of respect to the folks who have been impacted and really know best about solutions. And I hope that's what we'll talk about today. So Kevin, can you tell me sort of your perspective, how really engaging with parents, listening to the voices of parents really lifts the work, makes the work that you do and better? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So family engagement is very important to us, especially as we look at primary prevention as one of our overall objectives. So, our intent here is to prevent lead poisonings like the one that happened to the music family from occurring. And I don't think that happens without engaging the family at the local level and having them work with us and also be that voice and spread that to other families in the community.
So Kevin, what has proven, you think, to be one of the most effective family strategies from the FLIP program in reaching out?
We have put together a childhood-led advisory work group. Have over 50 members as part of that work group, from the housing industry, from providers, pediatricians, our local public health, our parents, the music family is part of that. So, we definitely are trying to have that family component.
I assume that Brenda was the chair, so.
We're working on it. Like she says, we push her gently at public health. So.
Gently push.
I think we're all concerned about families today. We've all been sheltering in place, using our houses as our shield for health against COVID, and what that means to be in houses that may up the dose exposure, if you will, on lead. And I think these are concerns that we have to have moving forward. And certainly as we think about health equity and outcomes and opportunity for everyone, right? And to make sure every child gets in a classroom healthy and ready to learn and to compete in that classroom, we have to think about lead at its core. Brenda and Damon, I want to give you the last word on this, but I'd love for you to leave us with your words of wisdom as those of us who are in this work, guidance for us and guidance for families on what we should be focused on in letting the voices of parents and families lead this work.
Well, first, I need to thank everybody who works in this field, because you're the godsend and the saviors to the parents that have to deal with this, because you are there. You are our emotional support. And without you and what you're doing and your help, we would all be lost, not even knowing where to turn or how to get help and help our children. I think that the programs that I'm seeing are going ahead very great. They're working on trying to reach out to those parents better and to get the message out there. And I said, I cannot even thank you all enough for that. But the parents need to be active. I mean, you are your child's loudest advocate. So if you're not out there trying to find what's best and what's going on and what's doing, then you're not giving your child the best outcome either. So you can't just rely on these agencies. You need to be there. You need to be doing the job also as a parent.
I want to thank the Iowa Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Program for being such an agency, and for you all to, as the music family, to really be such a great guidepost and guiding light. Hopefully, as we move forward in the future, other families do not have to live through this impact. And I think that's our mutual goal here. Know, all of you, that the partners at the COIN project will be in this for the long term with you until we see the day that we can close the chapter on lead. I want to thank all of you very much, and I want to thank our team here at GHHI, Kelsey and Jamal and Kate, for bringing us together for this conversation. Thank you very much.